African American inventors and innovators are some of the best kept secrets in this country. Without their noteworthy contributions, the world, as we see it today, wouldn't be the same. So let's take a look at 12 individuals who revolutionized the world. Garrett Morgan was the seventh of 11 children born to Sidney and Elizabeth Morgan. In 1909, Morgan opened a tailoring shop which brought about his first invention called the safety hood. The safety hood consisted of a hood and a tube which reached near the ground to allow in clean air, and a tube that allowed the user to exhale air out of the device. Orders for this device came in from fire and police departments across the country. However, many of them were canceled when it was discovered that Morgan was black. Nonetheless, Morgan's safety hood, now known as the gas mask, was utilized by the United States Army and saved the lives of thousands of soldiers. Morgan also solved another safety problem by patenting an automatic traffic signal. Today's modern traffic lights are based upon Morgan's original design. In 1896, George Washington Carver received his master's degree in agriculture and was later summoned by Booker T. Washington to teach at the Tuskegee Normal and Industrial Institute. With a plot of land, Carver was able to show local farmers how crop rotation fertilizes soil. He instructed them to plant peanuts, which could be harvested easily and fed to livestock. With the abundance of excess peanuts from the farmers, Carver was able to produce more than 300 products, including ink, facial cream, shampoo, and soap. From sweet potatoes, he developed more than 115 products, of which many were used during World War I. He even created over 75 products from pecans. During his career, Carver would also partner up with Henry Ford to create synthetic rubber using a plant weed called goldenrod. Benjamin Montgomery was born into slavery in 1819 in Loudoun County, Virginia. At the time, commerce was distributed by steamboats, which would navigate through the rivers connecting counties and states. Utilizing his mechanical skills and inventive talents, Montgomery created a propeller that could cut into the water at different angles. This allowed steamboats to navigate more easily through shallow water. Born in Jefferson City, Tennessee, Mark Dean, in his capacity as an engineer for IBM, didn't take long to make a big impact, serving as a chief engineer for the team that developed the IBM PC/AT, the original home and office computer. Dean would eventually own 3 of the original 9 patents that all PCs are based upon. With more than 40 patents pending, Dr. Dean is poised to continue his far-reaching impact on the world of science and the home and workplace. Otis Boykin was born in Dallas, Texas in 1920. During that time, electronics were very popular within the science community, and Boykin took a special interest in working with resistors. In 1959, he sought and received a patent for a wire resistor, which would ultimately be used in radios and televisions. 2 years later, he created another resistor that could be manufactured very inexpensively. His most famous invention, however, was a control unit for the pacemaker, which used electrical impulses to stimulate the heart and create a steady heartbeat. Marie Van Britten Brown and her husband Albert created the first closed-circuit television system to be used for home monitoring. That security system was the forerunner of all advanced home security technology in use today. The idea originated because Marie was home alone at odd hours of the day or night when her husband was working. She felt vulnerable living in an area with high crime rates. So working with her husband, the two created a motorized camera system, an alarm system, and a microphone system that allowed them to identify a visitor and communicate with them through the microphones. and also was able to alert a security firm if their visitor was a threat. This invention is used throughout the majority of countries today in various surveillance applications. Benjamin Banneker was born in 1731 in Maryland, the son of a slave. One day, his family was introduced to a man named Joseph Levi, who owned a watch. Young Benjamin was so fascinated by the object that Mr. Levi explained how it worked and gave it to him. After days of deconstructing and reconstructing the watch, and after years of building and carving his own pieces by hand, he was able to create the first clock that was ever built in the United States. Little has been written about Richard Spikes in terms of his childhood, education, and personal life. What is known is that he was an incredible inventor whose creations have had a major impact on the lives of everyday citizens. One of his most notable inventions is the automatic gear shift, which is used in automobiles all throughout the world today. Spikes also developed an automatic car washer, a multiple barrel machine gun, and a continuous contact trolley pole, along with many other devices. Lewis Latimer is considered one of the 10 most important black inventors of all time. Not only for the sheer number of inventions he created, but also for the magnitude of importance for his most famous discovery. In 1880, Latimer was hired by the U.S. Electric Lighting Company, where he set out to make a longer-lasting light bulb. The method he utilized for constructing the light bulb made it less expensive and more efficient. Eventually, as more major cities began wiring their streets for electric lighting, Latimer was dispatched to lead the planning team. Over the next several years, he would make many more inventions like the safety elevator, locking racks, and even a device that made rooms more sanitary and climate controlled. George Alcorn Jr. is a noted pioneer in the field of semiconductor devices and is one of the top inventors in the field of aerospace. Alcorn worked in IBM's space division and eventually joined NASA. Over his career, he created numerous noteworthy inventions and secured more than 25 patents. For George Carruthers, in 1969, Carruthers received a patent for his invention, which was an image converter which detected electromagnetic radiation in short wavelengths. Today, he continues to offer innovative ideas in the areas of astronomy and physics, and has been active in outreach programs seeking to bring science to youth around the country. Patricia Bath worked as an intern at Harlem Hospital in New York, where she noticed that many of the patients suffered blindness, while few at the Columbia Eye Clinic did. After further research, she concluded that blacks were twice as likely to suffer from blindness as the general population, and that the main explanation for this disparity was a lack of access to ophthalmic care for blacks. In 1981, she began working on her most well-known invention, called the laser Foucault probe, which was able to remove cataract lenses. As you can see, the contributions of these men and women have greatly influenced their generations, and all the generations after. The world has benefited from their genius, which brought groundbreaking ideas to life.